Welcome back to The Company Move, where we explore what life outside the film and television industry could look like by talking to folks who have made the leap. I'm your host, Rennie Pollack, a union camera assistant living and working in Chicago, Illinois. I'll be learning and growing along with you. It's season 2, y'all. Company's on the move. Ooh, hi, Company Movers. I have another fun one for you today. We're going to be talking with Seth Farley. Seth is a native of Hutchinson, Kansas. He was interested in the arts in early life. After graduating high school, Seth got a degree in film and video from Columbia College, Chicago. Yay, Chicago. After that, he spent 15 years working professionally as a first assistant director in film and television, and I was lucky enough to get to meet that lovely gentleman on set. He ended up being a member of the Directors Guild of America. Seth worked on projects of all shapes and sizes, from microbudget music videos with me and independent cinema, TV, and Super Bowl commercials. After 15 years, Seth eventually sought a change in lifestyle. He wanted to be in a position to give back. He ultimately settled on working for his hometown community in Hutch. Now an employee of the Hutchinson Reno County Chamber of Commerce and the Greater Hutch, Seth serves on multiple community focus groups. He sits on the committees for the Reno Recovery Collaborative, the Mental Health Task Force, the Overdose Fatality Review, and serves on the boards for Rise Up Reno Prevention Network, the Reno County Drug Free Alliance, and on Hutchinson Community College's Media Production Department Advisory Council. Just absolutely adore this man. He's a wonderful human. He was wonderful to work with. If you ever were lucky enough to work on one of Seth's sets, they were generally positive and fun, just like this conversation. So welcome to Company Move, Seth Farley. Hi, Seth.
Hello, Rennie. How you doing?
I'm good. Welcome to Company Move.
Thank you very much.
Seth and I...
Go ahead.
Oh, damn. We got to do it again.
Okay.
No, just kidding.
So it's not like a film set. Okay, got it.
I mean, we can do it again. Yes. Hi.
Go it again.
Hey. Welcome to Company Move.
Hey, thank you. I'm glad to be here. How you doing, Rennie?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm excellent.
In your professional podcasting studio. Thanks for being here. Seth and I have been trying to do this for like 4 weeks. One of us was sick. The other one was sick. One of us had a really bad day. One of us had dinner with a coworker, like lots of rescheduling. Yeah. But we both were happens. Like, we are not bailing, and we're here.
Yeah.
Seth, you were here because you had a company move.
I sure did.
So can you tell me, what was your job in the film industry?
I was a first assistant director and a member of the Directors Guild of America.
And a really damn good one.
Thank you very much. I felt pretty good about how I operated in that role, so it was yeah. But thank you.
Is that all you got? You don't want to talk about it?
Well, I think that the first AD, there's like such a cliche about that position in that like they are the people on set who scream at everybody, and often have meltdowns and whatnot. And I wasn't that, and I think as a result, just the sets I was running just tended to be as a little bit more positive, perhaps. I guess part of my game plan when prepping a shoot was, I felt like it was my job in prep to make everybody else's job easier on set. So I really focused in on prepping a movie and prepping a project and all that. And then by the time you begin, hopefully smooth sailing.
Yeah, I mean, that was apparent. I worked on a couple of your sets and it was really fun. And always felt like I could come to you and ask questions and not feel like I was going to destroy your day by asking you a question, which some first ADs have that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're holding the entire schedule by a shoestring, so I get it. I remember the first time someone asked me to AD something of theirs, they told me, I had no idea. I didn't know. I didn't go to film school. I didn't know anything about what a film set does or how it runs. And they're like, yeah, you just have to be a bitch. And so I was a bitch the entire shoot. I was just yelling at people and you didn't do that right. And that was not good advice.
I
That
I
I've
uh
retroactively learned that like that's not how you get people to work.
yeah, I remember when I was actually in film school, this graduate student, I was an undergrad, but this graduate student was like telling me how to first AD, and she was like, "Yeah, the way you do this is you tell them that they can have 10 minutes, but you only give them 5." Yeah, that doesn't work.
No,
That doesn't-
no.
Yeah. Do you remember the first thing we worked on together?
Was it a Steve Aoki music video in the woods?
No, no,
We
but
did that, right?
oh my God, I forgot about that one. Holy cow.
Some like stunt and orbs and shit in the woods.
Yeah, yeah. No, this one it was like a spec commercial. And it was for either Volvo or VW, and it was in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like 112 degrees or something, and we were outside for the whole thing.
Or we had a red
And
camera and we had
uh
to, it was Samara and I, or the ACs, and
yeah, Samara, yeah,
we had to get into an air conditioned car with ice packs because the camera was not functioning.
yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah. That was a rough one.
that was rough. That was the first one. Okay. Yeah. And then we did that other crazy
Yeah,
music
yeah,
video in the woods. Stevie Aoki was not there. It was a music video for one of his songs, but
yeah, yeah.
um I think we did something else and that was it. And then you went off and did other stuff.
That's how it happens. That's
Yeah.
how it works, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you get into the film industry? How did you get that job? How did you become a first and how did you know that's what you wanted to do?
Yeah, that goes back to high school, I guess. When I was in high school, I got really into animation, specifically like 3D animation, and so that's what I wanted to do in college. I went to Columbia College Chicago, and at that school, their animation department is within the film department. And I had to take a class that it was called Production One, and it's basically Film Set 101. During that class, I was just like, oh my God, this is so much better than being in a dark room by myself.
Getting to be
And
around people.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it was cool. It was cool. And how I ended up first ADing. So when I had switched over to film, I the original plan was to be a director. So I focused on directing, but I also just wanted to be on set as often as I could. And a lot of times, especially like if you're in film school, at least at Columbia, and you're a director but you still want to be on set, a lot of times you would first AD other directors' projects. So I started doing that, and then from there, my plan was to stay in Chicago, but on the first actual movie I ever worked on, I was the second AD on this little film called The Wise Kids. We filmed it in Charleston, South Carolina. Super great experience, super positive, especially for a first movie. There was a girl there, our script supervisor, and her and I had gone to college together, but we didn't know each other very well. We kind of just got to know each other and kind of fell for each other. But the problem was, I was in Chicago and she'd already moved to LA.
Hmm.
Well, you know, I tend to be a little brash or like I shoot from the hip sometimes. And, after she came to visit me in Chicago once, and when she did that, it was just clear like, okay, I got to move to LA. And it was it was kind of unfortunate because like, I was just graduated college. I had a job. I forget how much I made, but it wasn't much, and I wasn't able to save money. So I was preparing myself to just tell her like, "Hey, look, it's not going to happen. I can't move." And then one day on Easter Sunday, 2011, I get a call from this producer working on a project for the BBC, a travel documentary on Route 66, which, as we all know, Route 66 is the road from Chicago to Los Angeles. And she needed somebody to just drive the truck. And she asked me that question early in the morning. I think I was probably hungover, partying the night before. Chicago,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
big bar scene. And I thought it sounded like a great idea. She offered the job to me, and I said, "Well, this sounds pretty good. Let me make some calls. Let me call my job. Let me talk to my roommates. Let me tie up some loose ends. But this could be great." She said, "Well, we leave in 2 hours."
Holy shit, that is some
And
last
so,
minute
yeah,
notice.
like I said, I just go for it.
You're like, fate was calling and I had to answer.
Yeah. So I basically just said yes, packed a bag, quit my job, and hit the road. And we spent 2 months going down Route 66 until we got to LA. I get to LA, and I just never went back to Chicago. And I moved in with my the girl. Yeah, so I was out in LA, wanting to make freelance work, and one of the great things, one of the more important things I think about film school is just your network and connections. And
Hmm.
for the most part, a lot of the folks that graduated Columbia, if they wanted to get serious about it, they would move out to LA. So I already had a pretty big network. Um, and I remember my first professional first AD gig was in Chicago, or not Chicago, it was in LA. It was a music video for John LaJoie,
I don't even know
who I
who
don't
that
know.
is.
Oh, you probably do. He's a really funny guy. He played Taco on the League. Um,
Okay.
he's a good
Okay.
dude. But
Okay.
what was great about that was director for that is this guy named Brandon Dermer, and this was one of those projects, real low budget, like Favorlicious for sure. And Brandon Dermer is, he was one of those guys, and you hear this kind of thing a lot in the film industry. That was, you do me this favor, and I'll make sure to pay it back to you. And I'm pretty sure that Brandon Dermer is one of the only people who is real about that in Los
Yeah.
Angeles. I met Brandon Dermer, and he was another Columbia kid, and just from doing that one little tiny project, my network just kind of blew up.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just had to have a conversation with my new bosses about like my PTSD from being asked to do things with the hopes of getting
Oh man, yeah,
like salary or whatever. Like I was like, look, every time I was asked to do a free gig, it didn't really like they just kept calling me for free gigs. Like
yeah,
they
yeah.
didn't really bring me
I
on to any of the big stuff and that didn't work out for me. So I understand that you're being earnest in this offer, but I also have a lot of PTSD. So
yeah,
it's not
yeah,
going to
I
work
get
on
it.
me.
So one of the last movies I did, it was in 2020. Actually directed by Brandon Dermer, oddly enough. Um, that was a movie that was like written for COVID, so it was like we had a very small crew, only two cast members, and we only had one location, and it was a mansion, and we all just stayed there. So trying to keep a safe bubble and all that. But it was one of those projects, and I'm not going to say what it was. It was extremely low budget, and to get these professionals. So at this point in our careers, like that group around me, Brandon Dermer, and all that, like we're really good.
Hmm.
Like we're professionals and we do big stuff now. To attract some of those people, there were back end points offered to everybody, and it broke my heart when a couple of the crew members were talking to me about like, oh, what can we expect from this? And I just had to kind of lightly break their hearts and say like, look, you're probably not going to earn anything with these back end points.
No.
Sorry.
I've been offered back end points on a smaller thing that didn't go
Yeah,
anywhere.
yeah,
It's like maybe if they sell it 10 years down the line, I don't know. But no, I
yeah,
know I'm not
yeah,
going to get anything.
yeah, yeah.
So what was your experience like? You started out kind of doing music videos, smaller
Uh-huh. Yep,
stuff, and then
yep.
tell me your trajectory when you joined the DGA, like what kind of stuff did you do towards the end of your career?
So yeah, I mean, you nailed it. Started out on music videos, and they're all pretty small at that point. Like I don't know the budgets or anything like that, but I go back and look at them on YouTube, and their videos that maybe to this point still have like 20,000 views or something like that.
Mhm.
So pretty small stuff. And I guess so. Like I'll just keep using Brandon as an example. Like he shines brightly. I'll say that. We started doing those small things together, and just steadily he started getting more money and bigger bands and bigger things to do, to where eventually we start doing full on cable TV shows, big commercials. I end up with another company. I done a couple Super Bowl commercials. I guess where the guild comes in, I was hired or I was allowed to join the Directors Guild as a first AD because I was hired to do this indie movie called Billy Boy, and it was a DGA signatory project, and I got grandfathered in basically. But it was great because at that point, like, that was a door that was always shut to me. And I got to say, I actually did join the guild pretty early in my career. It was only 2014, like 5 years after college.
And getting to join as
But
a first is pretty big deal.
yeah, yeah, it was cool, especially after that when I started getting DGA gigs that, have well-defined minimums, salary minimums. And oh my gosh, my favorite DGA rule
Completion of
was,
project.
yep, completion of project. But my favorite DGA rule was that I could not be on the clock before crew call or after camera wrap. So I call wrap and I just whoop.
Drop your walkie and run.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if I didn't have to like talk to anybody after set, that would have
Right.
to happen sometimes. But in theory, I could just, all right, that's a wrap. See ya.
Yeah, yeah. That is the bonus.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, I guess I could put my trajectory this way. Like, every project, like things just started to grow and grow. I started out doing these tiny little music videos, and guess what? In 2019, I was the first AD on a music video that won a VMA. Things just grew.
Which one?
It was a Coldplay song called Orphans. And man, dude, it was crazy. Like being on those no budget music videos to then being on this one, which I think the budget was something like 4 million.
Wow.
It was like, oh my gosh, it was cool. It had one of those like rotating sets. So it looks like people are walking on walls and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah. And just tell people that I won a VMA is pretty cool too.
That is pretty cool.
But then, what else? Yeah, like I said, I did a couple Super Bowl commercials. As far as movies go, I was always firmly in like the independent, low budget world, but I loved it, man. There was like nothing better than working on a movie, in my opinion, when I
Yeah.
was still in it.
I loved the indies, even though
Hmm.
sometimes they were more work than necessary.
Yeah, yeah,
I was pretty firmly in the indie world as well for film.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think my like breakthrough year was probably 2017, because that's the year that I did my first TV show with Dermer. It was a show called What Would Diplo Do, and it's
Yeah, that was a good show.
yeah, it was,
James
yeah,
James
it's
Vanderbeek, right?
James Vanderbeek playing
Yeah.
Diplo, and that production was insane. It was 22-minute episodes, 6 episodes, and typically a TV show like that you shoot an episode a week, right?
5-day episodes.
Yep,
We
yep.
just did that with Deli Boys last year.
Oh yeah, well, that's where you met Maureen.
Still
Cool.
happening.
Yeah, yeah. But for that 6 episode, 22-minute episode production, we only had 3 weeks to shoot.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Yeah, we only had 15 days to shoot. Yeah.
To shoot 6 episodes.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so obviously that's fucked up, right?
How did you make that schedule?
So yeah, the smart thing that they did to make that schedule possible is they gave myself and other department heads, DP, production designer, costumes. Everybody had, for this 3-week shoot, we had 7 weeks of prep.
Okay.
So it was just like
That's good.
very intense planning, but the way that we operated in prep, it was, weekly. Like, okay, you know how you have that pre-production meeting right before day one?
Yeah.
We had that meeting every week.
Okay.
By the time that the schedule was finalized and we're on set for day one, really all the questions had been asked and answered, and it was just about execution.
But was the first AC invited to those meetings? Probably. They were?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
VFX was invited. Yeah, yeah.
Usually the first AC, who I think should be the department head of the camera department, doesn't
Yeah, I agree.
doesn't
Yeah,
get
yeah.
to be a part. They work for free for like weeks before production, whereas like the key grip
Yeah.
and the gaffer have an office for 2 weeks and are in like meetings and shit, and go on
Yeah.
tech scouts. Okay, so that makes me so happy that you included the camera
Yeah.
department.
It did make me feel really awful to, in pre-production, schedule a day, and the last week that was 18 pages. That was scheduled. Oh, and by the way, we couldn't afford overtime, so
Why? Okay, but so how? You're
so
gonna.
okay,
You know the questions I'm gonna ask. How the fuck do you have
I do,
7
yeah.
weeks to prep and only 3 weeks to shoot? Why wouldn't you take one of those weeks to shoot?
I'm not sure. I wasn't the producer or production manager. I'm just gonna guess it was
Vanderbeek's
they.
schedule.
No, no. There was a little bit with Dylan Francis's schedule, but I think it was just a money thing, because our crew was enormous.
Hmm.
It was huge, probably 80 people on set every day, and so they didn't obviously couldn't. They didn't want to spend another week or something like that paying all those folks. I don't know. That's my guess. I can't fully
Well,
answer that
shit.
myself, but
What you did with 15 days looked pretty good.
oh, it was this shoot was beautiful. It God, it went so well. It was so much fun. Everybody was happy, and man, that's why I'm all about prep these days. So that was 2017. That was early in the year, and then later that year, I did a movie with this gentleman named Gil Klebine. So this movie is called The Wave.
Robin says, "Go, Gilly." Robin's creeping on our conversation.
Yeah, Gil's just a great guy. And this is one of those movies. It's called The Wave, starring Justin Long. I highly recommend people watch it. It is a crazy ride. So this is one of those productions that, like, okay, I'll just say it, super favorlicious again. Really low budget, probably just a little over $1 million or something like that. Shooting in Albuquerque. The producers told me, they offered me the job and told me the rate. And I was just like, what? I can't do that. And so I hopped on the phone with Gil and we just talked about it because I'd worked with him before on commercial stuff. He's great to work with. Just him and Dermer are my two favorite. Well, okay, I got three favorites, but I'm only talking about them right now. Two favorite directors I've worked with. So Gil said something to me, and it started out as something that, again, we hear all the time when, on these low budget shoots. He said, listen, man, I'm really honored that you're even considering this, and I just want you to know that if you do this with me, you'll be really proud of what we make, which we hear that a lot, right? It's what he said after that like struck me. He said, you'll be really proud of what we make and you'll be proud of how we do it.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, he was right, that was another shoot where it was just fun and everybody loved each other. And, it also went great. Part of the reason why I agreed to do it is because even before bringing me on, he already had a full animatic for the movie.
Oh, that's awesome.
So Gil is like, his prep is
Will you
insane.
explain to the folks who don't know what an animatic is?
Basically, it's like storyboards with motion. So he had the whole thing boarded out, and then he'd cut it together like how he envisioned he would film it. And guess what? That's what we did. We shot the boards. It was cool. But yeah, like that guy was so prepped. One thing that was really impressive about Gil was that so Justin Long, great guy, great actor, perfect for this role, but he takes his roles really seriously and he will question every decision. There's a scene where he's running down the hallway and he's got a toothbrush in his hand and he has asked questions like, why is the toothbrush in my right hand? Anything that Justin could throw at him, and some of them were like way deep and like, wow, who would even think of that? Gil always had an answer right
I
away.
love it. Like, this is
Yeah,
your
it was
reason
cool.
for everything.
Yeah, yeah.
When did you start thinking about leaving the industry? It sounds like you were kind of moving up and talking to or working with some like great folks.
I mean, I'll be honest. The notion hadn't even entered my brain until the world shut down because of COVID. It's one of those things like when the world shuts down and you get an extended moment to just think about future goals and stuff like that. You kind of notice like, hey, you know what? Like maybe this isn't for me. So in a lot of ways, that year that I had in 2017, like it was so freaking good and so positive and so awesome that like I was never able to like have that again.
Yeah.
After that, it's just you work on different projects, and I worked on a lot of fun ones, but like you have to work with different people, and it just turned out that working on projects with Brandon Dermer and Gil Klebine, which are so positive and so productive and efficient and all this and just great overall, it's unfortunately kind of rare, and they all can't be that way.
Yeah.
And so from then, I started kind of finding myself on projects that weren't exactly positive, weren't supportive of the crew, and kind of some of them were flat out negative experiences. And when COVID happened, I kind of realized what was going on, and I thought to myself that it's probably going to be more negative projects than positive projects moving forward. So that's when I kind of started to think about leaving. So that girl that I moved out to LA for, her and I were married at this time. And, we talked about this together, and, neither one of us believed that we would stay in LA forever. And so we just decided, like, hey, maybe it's time to move on. So when we were all locked down, stuck at home, we decided, like, okay, I'm gonna start making my move to leaving the film industry, and then we're gonna move. We're gonna leave LA, because if I'm not in the film industry, there's no reason to be in LA. And so we made a plan to stick around for a couple years, but just go into hardcore money save mode to maybe like be able to leave LA and go buy a house somewhere, something like that. And as we know, especially as members of the film industry, plans change. During August of that year, our beloved dog, and her and I were never going to have kids, so this dog was like very
Mm-hmm.
important to
I
us.
remember that
He,
dog.
yeah, Ollie, yeah, he got a real bad form of cancer, and just within a few days, we had to put him down, and that wrecked us.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, it was bad. And so that happened, and we were just kind of like, okay, let's get the hell out of LA. Let's get out of this house. And so what went from a couple years plan became a couple months. So that happened, and we left LA on New Year's Eve, 2020. But luckily, they had opened up film work again,
Wait,
so
New
I was
Year's
able to
Eve
do
2021, yeah?
2020.
Oh, going into January.
December 31st.
Got it. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
the world hadn't shut down yet. Yes. Okay, you're right. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so we hit the road, and we didn't really have any plan about jobs or anything like that. I knew I wanted to get out of the industry, but I still had it in my back pocket. Like probably more than half the movies I've ever worked on were out of state. We're not in California anyway.
Sure.
So I was like, oh, I can just travel. And so yeah, I didn't get a job. We moved to Louisville, Kentucky, for no other reason than it's a really cool town. It's kind of the best of both worlds. You've got anything you'd want out of a big city, but it's also like super, super friendly and like really Midwestern. It's cool. But yeah, I didn't get a job immediately out there. Hilariously, the first movie I did after I moved to Louisville was in Los Angeles. So I had to come back to LA and work as a local, which, oh man, that's rough.
Yeah, it's hard when you don't have a car or like a place to stay.
So I had come back to LA for a little commercial shoot with a good friend of mine. I just love this kid, so I told him I'd come back for it, and just for that I was taking Ubers everywhere. And man,
It adds
no, that's
up.
not good on the wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. So for that movie, I had to drive to LA. So I drove my car.
After you
Um,
just driven to Louisville.
yeah, yeah. Just it was a few months later. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pretty neat. But yeah, I also did this in Chicago, which was really fun to get back there. In 2021 or two, I forget when, I did an HBO comedy special in Chicago.
That's fun.
Um, it was. So like I don't know if that's more stage managing or what, because it's live. But I had done a couple live things before, and I think they're super fun because the moment I call, roll sound, roll cameras, my job's done. We don't cut.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did that one movie.
So you moved, but you were still kind of like not quite sure what it was that you
Hmm.
wanted to
Hmm.
do. So did you have anything in mind, or was there anything that like sparked your interest that you came across while you were figuring it out?
Well, this is kind of funny. So I'm over this now, but I maybe as ego or something like that. Like I didn't like the idea because I was the person that ran the set. Even though production manager, producers, director. There are people above me, but you know, come on, I was the one pulling the strings and all that. So what I didn't like was the idea of having a supervisor or a
Mm.
manager. So my thought was, okay, well, I could probably just spend most of the day on my own if I become a mail carrier.
You're not the first person on this podcast that tried to become a mail carrier.
I wonder if our story is going to be the same. So I was actually hired, but like after I did all that, the start work and whatnot, like the office I'd be carrying out of, they basically did their best job to scare me away. Um, they were just like, look, just so you know, starting out, you're probably going to be doing 7 days a week, split shifts, and you'll have to be on call. And that's just scratching the surface on some of the stuff they told me, but it was just like, oh man, I can't do that. No way, no way, because I was still married at the time. I had another dog, and it's like one of the reasons I wanted to get out of film, even though I loved making movies, is just how much time it took away from my family.
Yeah.
So it's just like, well, if I'm, yeah, it just didn't make sense. So I didn't end up doing it. But then after another stretch of time where I didn't really have a job, I had done a couple more film type projects outside of Louisville, but I was just like, okay, maybe I should give this post office thing a shot again. Exact same thing. Go through all the steps, get start work, and they're just like, hey, by the way, nothing's changed. You're still going to be working like 100 hours a week. So I was just like, okay, I just can't do it. So yeah, so after that happened the second time, a friend of mine out in Louisville, he called me up and offered me a job with this multinational company called Johnson Controls, and the job was to be a fire safety system inspector. And so one thing I wanted, so yeah, one thing I wanted out of getting a new career is that the first assistant director, that is the most stressful, hardest job you can have on set.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just really wanted something chill. And my buddy was just like, look, man, this is chill. So I was like, I'm in. And so what we would do to do our inspections, we'd go into private property, government buildings, hospitals, schools, jails, prisons, any number of building, and we'd inspect all of their fire safety equipment. So what that mostly meant was we'd walk down the hallways looking up with this big pole that could telescope out to like 40 feet, and we'd just hold the pole up to each smoke detector. It'll tell us if it's working or not, and then we just move on to the next one. There's other stuff we checked, but that was the bulk of it. And you know what? Some days we didn't have a lot scheduled, so we spent a lot of time sitting in the van, watching stuff on our phones. It was, yeah, it was exactly what I wanted. It was so chill,
Turn your mind
so
off kind of
easy.
work.
Yeah, but it come to find out that's not for me. So
Yeah, it's a pretty
so yeah,
diametrically opposed position than what you were used
yeah,
to.
yeah,
Um,
for sure, yeah.
so what happened next?
Oh well, what happened next? So we're now in 2023. Um, this whole move, this sudden move to Louisville, Kentucky from Los Angeles, California, with no plan, um, sort of sort of fractured me and my wife's relationship, and we ended up getting divorced in 2023. Which I didn't want that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't wish that kind of thing on anybody. It wrecked me. It wrecked me, but I was lucky to have friends. I was lucky to have the job that I had. But then just a couple months after that, I got laid off from that job.
Mm.
Which, even though at that time I was already looking for something else, it still hurt. That's never happened to me before. I've never been fired.
Right,
I've never been laid off.
right.
It like hurt. And yeah, after getting laid off, I stuck around for a couple months in Louisville, trying to find something, but I just couldn't. What I really wanted to find was something in like nonprofits,
Mm-hmm.
or even like civic work, like city government or something like that, but just couldn't find it. Yeah, just after that really horrible year of 2023, I just decided to move back to my hometown of Hutchinson, Kansas, and that is where I am at right now.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's actually been really cool. I love it here. I like I was here for a couple months before I found a job, but I got what I wanted. I got a job with a nonprofit. I work for the Hutchinson Reno County Chamber of Commerce now. I do marketing. Um, and what's been really freaking awesome about this job is that it got me extremely plugged in to the city of Hutchinson, everything that's going on around it, all the good things that are happening. But it's also given me the ability to to I don't know, really feel like I'm helping out. Because through that job, I was first assigned to this one committee by my boss. It's the Reno Recovery Collaborative, and it is what it sounds like. It's a committee talking about recovery resources that are available and more stuff than that. But it's cool work. It's really helpful work, and it's something that's really needed in Hutchinson and Reno County. And then through that, I was invited to the Mental Health Task Force, which is another committee about mental health. Similar thing, but it's mental health. And then after that, I was asked to serve as a board member for Rise Up Reno, which is a substance use and suicide prevention group for kids, for
Wow, that's
teens.
awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. I love the work that they do. It's really cool. Um, uh, and then just today, I had my first board meeting. I was asked to serve on the board for the Reno County Drug Free Alliance. Um, yeah, so I guess at this point, I should kind of explain why that's important to me. And this kind of goes back to the film industry a lot, and I think that you'll be able to attest to this. But yeah, I kind of went down a kind of a dark road for a while there when I was in film. Just extreme heavy drinking, drug use, all that. Like, man, I did this one movie out of state, and literally every weekend at whoever's housing or hotel or whatever, there would be parties where there'd be mountains of cocaine everywhere, literal mountains.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, kind of got into that stuff.
The out of town jobs are the hardest because it's just
Oh man, you
everybody's
just
away
party.
and having a good time.
Oh
The
yeah.
movie I worked
Well, we
on
kind
in
of.
Cyprus, there was only one day that I said no to it. Like every night, everybody wanted to go out and drink, or we would come home at 6
Uh
a.m.
huh. Uh
and
huh.
take part in
Yep.
the breakfast bar that had, we'd take the bottle of vodka and go have a blast. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
my liver is going to not function anymore
Yeah.
after this
Yeah.
trip. I had to stop saying yes to going out.
But yeah, I mean, and I think that kind of stuff, even even on shows at home in LA, there's just a pretty strong party culture. I hate to say it, but probably 80% of folks that I knew in the industry had problems with excessive drinking.
Mhm.
Probably 60% probably used cocaine regularly.
Mhm.
It's just in the culture there, and yeah, I'm glad to be away from it. I'll just say that. That's just one of the parts that's one part that I'm glad to be away from, because there's a lot of it that I miss. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that shoot that you and I met on, we were in Vegas, and there was a night there.
Yep.
Let's have some fun. Yeah.
Yep. I personally stopped drinking, like, it's almost been 2 years now,
Yeah,
but it
yeah,
feels
yeah,
so good. Like, I can't
yeah,
imagine drinking anymore. Like, it just doesn't feel good. I don't have any problem with
yeah,
other people drinking, but,
yeah, yeah.
like,
Well,
I don't have hangovers. It's amazing.
yeah, yeah, and I think that's kind of I think it's our age too, because I'm noticing a lot of folks around our age, they're kind of making that same call.
The younger generation isn't starting either. They're like, "Oh, this isn't good for you."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see how what goes on with them, because that's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm on Rise Up Reno, um, and so we get data. I see data about this stuff a lot. Um, And one thing that we just find that's kind of wild is that, yeah, the kids aren't drinking.
But what else are they
'Cause it's,
doing? Okay, so you got this new job. How did you get this new job? What was the process?
oh, yeah, yeah. So, I mean, this will go along with the networking chat I had earlier. So this is my hometown. I lived here for 18 years. I was gone for 20 years, but I still had connections when I moved back last year. One of my best friends on this planet is this gentleman named Devin, and his wife has become a good friend of mine. I've known her for about 12 years now. Once I got back, so she also works for the Chamber of Commerce in economic development. And the first day I got back, first full day, she's like, "Hey, um, here at the chamber." So one thing that we have here in Hutchinson is the National Junior College men's basketball championship. So they're basically March Madness for JUCO is here in Hutch.
Okay.
And they were looking for volunteers for that. And I'm just thinking, I don't have a job. I need something to do. Let's do it. And it it's 10 days, and I volunteered for every single day. And on like the third or fourth day, I met somebody who also worked for the chamber. Her name's Sarah. She just told me about a couple job openings with the chamber. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, something. It's non-profit. So yeah, I'm interested. And I applied for this job that was the economic development project manager. Because I guess I was like focused on the project management side because that's kind of what I did in
It's
film.
exactly what a first AD is the
Yeah,
project
yeah.
manager.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, I didn't know much of anything about economic development, but, I had that down and, maybe they're down for giving me some training or whatnot. So I applied for that, and had a couple interviews. Our CEO, Deborah, and a couple of the VPs. Obviously, my resume was very unique to them,
Yeah.
very different. And so,
Did you put your title as first assistant project manager, or did you like change
no,
anything?
no,
No.
but I did under skills. I put project management.
Nice.
I'll have to send it to you. I had Chat GPT make it, and it turned out great.
Yeah, that's such a thing
um,
now in like the corporate world. Like people have
hmm.
run
Oh, they love
they
it.
run
Yeah,
what they want to say through Chat GPT and like say, make this nicer.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But okay. So I can't talk about this without talking about this other thing. So at the very same time, I have been interviewing for this job in Wichita, Kansas, to be the assistant director of the Tallgrass Film Association,
Oh, that would have been
which is
cool.
like what. Yeah, yeah, and I would have been number two person. It would have been weird to have the title assistant director, but whatever. And interviewed there a couple times. Interviewed with their director and some of their board members, and eventually I was actually offered the job with them, and I accepted it. But I remember on my last interview, as I was driving out to Wichita, it's about 45 minutes to an hour away. There is this very special tree, and I think only people in Hutchinson know about it, but it's called the wishing tree. And what you do when you pass this tree, it's like one of those old, big, like real
Oh
gangly kind
yeah,
of
like a
trees.
willow tree,
Um,
kind of, or like
not a willow, no, it's just really old.
yeah.
But as you pass it, you're supposed to take your feet off of the floor and honk four times, and then you make a wish. And as I was driving out there to do my final interview, I I wished for I wished to stay in Hutch. That was my wish, and so I wished for the chamber to offer me a job. But yeah, yeah. So um, accepted the job with the Tallgrass Film Association, and I was going to start on Monday. That Thursday of that week, I get a call from Deborah, the CEO, president at the Hutch Chamber, and she said, "Hey, look, I'm sorry that this has been taking so long, but can you come in one more time?" And I hadn't signed any paperwork with Tallgrass yet. I was just like, okay, okay, yeah, we can talk. And so I come in for a third time that Thursday, and she sits me down, and it's a really informal meeting. Like, we're really just chatting. Um, and she then tells me, look, I have offered the job of economic development project manager to somebody else, somebody more qualified, with somebody with experience. But I spoke to the board and I've created a new position for you.
Wow.
So yeah, I think it's just that the resume. She was kind of mystified by it and thought it was really cool. And one thing as I was looking for a job, it's been kind of hard for me to like show how my skills as a first AD could translate to something else like project management and stuff like that. And Deborah's just creative enough to see it.
Yeah.
So she offered me a job then and there, and I said hell yes. It actually pays more money than it would have in Wichita, but yeah, I'm really glad that I've landed in a place that allows me to help out in the community where I grew up. So yeah.
That's awesome. You kind of mentioned you started to get there a little bit about how your onset skills translate. Can you explain a little bit more about how they translate to what you're doing now
Hmm.
and how you were able to like demonstrate that to Deborah?
Well, oddly enough, right now I don't have to use too much of the first AD muscle in this position. What it mostly is like the creative stuff I picked up from film sets. So like, I do a lot of videography for them now and photography and stuff like that. But then on the flip side of that is this organization has done a lot to invest in me, in my professional development, and I've been to a few conferences. I just completed, at the beginning of May, I completed an economic development training course. So I think like that kind of stuff, it like kind of studying and getting trained and all that kind of stuff. To me, that feels a lot like prepping a movie.
Yeah.
Because it's just you gotta internalize stuff. And as you know, one thing about being a first AD is you have to be able to have an answer to any question that could come up. So I felt like a lot of times on a movie or on any kind of set, I was more locked in with the creative than even the director would be, because I had to answer any number of questions, any kind of question, and so it kind of feels like that. Like, this is a whole new world. Just like every project I was on was a different project,
Hmm.
so it's just like kind of have to put on that kind of mode. Like, I'm going through a script and highlighting each element to make my breakdown and all that. So yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything that you wish that you would have done differently in the process?
Well, certainly, certainly not being able to figure out like exactly what I wanted to do, because
Weren't you doing barbecue for a minute as well?
oh, that was in
Oh,
L.A.
that was in
Oh
LA.
man, dude, that was so cool. When COVID shut everything down, I was able to provide a little extra money for our house by running an illegal underground barbecue restaurant.
Hmm.
And as a matter of fact, I did know what I wanted to do when I left LA. I wanted to have a restaurant, but it wasn't exactly realistic, so I
That's what I
didn't go
thought you
too
were
far with
doing
it.
when you left. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
he's going to
yeah,
Louisville to start a barbecue restaurant.
that's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do, but oh well. But yeah, like so, that was kind of a dream, was to do that. Obviously, didn't have any capital or anything like that
Hmm.
to make it happen, but so I kind of gave up on the dream, and that's okay. You know what? Maybe I didn't. I don't think I'd be a good business business owner, business runner. I don't think that's a thing.
Ah, sure.
So I think like what was really hard was like I felt kind of directionless, um, because I'd done the same thing for 15 years, and it was hard to imagine doing really anything else. Um, oh, okay, you'll find this funny. So in Louisville, the first job that I actually ever had. So because I was interested in barbecue, I thought it would be cool to get a job at a butcher shop, learn about meat.
Mm.
And so I got hired, and I quit after the first day.
After the first day, you didn't even make it through day
Yep.
one. Okay.
I did make it through day one. I
Okay.
just
You
didn't
just
go
didn't
back.
go back.
And I'll tell you why, and I think you'll respect this. So obviously we're touching meat with our bare hands.
Right.
They didn't, for some reason, they didn't have hand soap for us. Like they had run out of hand soap and nobody refilled it. So we had to be touching this meat and we couldn't wash our hands. So I'm just like, this is fucking
And
gross.
nobody was wearing gloves?
So I asked about that, and I was told the owner would be pissed off if I was using gloves for every time I touched meat because it cost a lot of money.
This is why I'm a vegetarian. I mean, you can still get sick from
Yeah,
anything.
that's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And people are getting sick from lettuce. So,
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
wow. Yeah, I would not go back either. That's pretty disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is just like also the fact that I went through the divorce during that time.
Hmm.
You know, it made me a little crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
It's not usually
um,
easy for anybody.
well, and this is actually something that I think I picked up from film sets is like when we moved, I just had severe anxiety.
Mm.
And I always kind of wondered if that was just like, because I had to be the person that during the entirety of pre-production just imagined exactly in every which way a production could fail.
Hmm.
And, but I don't know, maybe not. Maybe it made me better with anxiety. I don't know. But I had a lot of anxiety then, and it was not good. Now I've done a cross-country move twice in 4 years.
Wow. You're a
But
pro.
this one's final. This one's final. I've made a commitment to my hometown. So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. What advice would you give to someone who's in the film industry looking for a career pivot?
I think what if they're looking for a pivot in their career, I think they need to understand why. Like, I quite factually, and I always tell people this, I wanted to leave the film industry because I was tired of being in the middle of what I deemed to be immoral and inhumane decisions by a production. You do some of those jobs out of state in right to work states, and they say things like, well, are we even legally required to pay background overtime?
Mm.
Like that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
I just wanted to get away from that. So even though it took me a while to get there, I guess what I really wanted is to be in a position that is positive and can enact positive change in a community. And, just I wanted to land somewhere where I could give back.
Hmm.
So I guess identify why you want to get out of the film industry and kind of let that guide you on maybe where you should look and where you should go.
It's good advice. What would you say to employers about hiring people in the film industry?
Oh man, if you want the hardest worker you're ever going to have in your organization, hire somebody who worked in film,
Hmm.
like 100%. Oh my God, dude. Okay, I hope nobody from my job hears this,
I feel like this is
but
what we talked about on the phone. Yeah.
uh, but like, dude, we have these huge events, and we have to set them up and we have to tear them down, and man, they don't have that film set mentality. It's like one of our events over, and it's just like me busting my ass to get out of there as quick as we can, and my coworkers are just chit chatting with people. I'm just like,
Yeah. You got to break out that AD role, give people jobs.
no, no, no.
You're nice about it. Be fine.
That's that's true. I think one of my favorite things to say on set, just to get people back on track, is I just lovingly say, "Hey, let's quit fucking around, please."
That's not passive aggressive at all. You're not from the Midwest at all.
Oh,
Robin loves the please. Um, yeah, in my new role, was my head of operations said to me, the biggest problem I'm having is people showing up on time. And I was like,
yeah.
to an event that happens once, like they're not showing up on time. Like, I'm sorry, what? And so I have luckily been able to hire my friends who are out of work in the film industry right now
Yeah, yeah.
to staff the events. And it is like I breathed a sigh of relief this last weekend because I only had my film industry friends, and I knew that they were going to show up
Yeah.
on time. I knew they weren't going to call me for stuff that they didn't really need to call me for. I knew that they were going to kill it and have a good time. Um, and that they knew that it was an easy job. Like, it's an easy job
Yeah.
compared to like what we do on set. It's like, oh, you want me to
Yeah.
show up and
Yeah.
have fun with guests at a wedding in a photo booth? Like, sure, great. You pay
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
$50 an
Yeah.
hour to do this? Sure, great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that has been like the biggest thing for me. I haven't even announced this yet, so we're just Easter eggs. Is there anything that you miss about set?
Oh, 1,000%. There's a lot that I miss. And the easiest one to say, and it just, it's the obvious answer is the people.
Mhm.
Like even though not every production was very positive, I was still able to surround myself with like a great team, if at least just my AD team.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's just I miss working on these big projects with great people and then seeing them come to fruition from start to finish. Man, you know that feeling when you wrap a movie?
Mhm.
Oh my God, it is so cool. Oh, and everybody's just happy,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, oh man, that was great. Uh, I did a lot of comedies, so I miss laughing. Those one of the coolest things I ever did was it was promotional material for the final season of Detroiters.
Oh, fun.
And we shot it at Viacom on Sunset and in this little stage, and all they did was, I don't know if you've seen the show, but how episodes end with them just at their windows talking to each other.
I've
It was
only
just
seen like one episode, so I don't remember, but yeah.
so they're neighbors and they talk to each other through their bedroom windows, and so it was they built that set and it was just Tim Robinson and Sam Richardson.
Mhm.
Is that his name?
Mhm.
Yeah, Sam Richardson, just improving
It's cute.
for, I think we probably shot for 8 hours, and it was just them being extremely funny. And I hate to say it, I don't know why they even hired me, because the cameras never moved.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have any setup. Once it was built, it was done.
That's fun though. Yeah.
It was so funny. Yeah,
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 they're cute. I like
yep.
them. I don't know.
It,
I'm not a big Tim Robinson.
oh,
Uh,
okay, okay,
I get it.
yeah,
I get it. He's just one note.
yeah.
He's one note. I went to go see Friendship and I was like, this is funny, but it's just a really long sketch.
my my one of my good friends, Laura Klein, she was the first AD for that,
Mm.
and then Kat Hess, who I've worked with, was her second. So I got to see it. I haven't seen it yet, but
It's good.
like
It's
Paul Rudd,
good. And if you
yeah.
really like, I think you should leave. You'll like this movie. But I think,
Okay, cool, cool.
yeah.
Another thing I miss, and this kind of goes back to the people, but like you also kind of you grow up, you get better at your job with the people that you work with, and it's just cool seeing the folks that I was working with, seeing them grow
Yeah.
and explore and get these great new jobs, develop these new skills, be able to afford this cool new gear.
Hmm.
Like it was cool. I love seeing that kind of stuff. But yeah,
Seeing people level up was pretty fun. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Level up together. What's your life like now? Like, how's it different? Less anxiety, more time, better work-life balance?
Yeah, I'd say maybe better work-life balance. Well, I mean, the hours are obviously shorter. I did do a 14-hour day last Friday, but that was because of an event. Pretty much it's 9 to 5.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's like 9 to 2, which is nice. I like it a lot, you know. One thing about moving back home is I didn't quite know until I got here how much I wanted to be near my family.
Mm.
So that's really great. My mom and I are really close. You know, actually, last night she cooked lunch and I cooked dinner, and you know that kind of stuff is fun. And I don't think like all this community stuff that I work on, these committees, that's the stuff I really like. I like being in a position to where I can like I feel like I'm helping people. And I don't really think that I could have had that in a place like Los Angeles or Chicago, because I wouldn't have known where to start.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I'm really thankful to have that here. It's cool.
Awesome. Do you ever see yourself going back to the film
No,
industry?
No, I don't. I entertained in 2023, I think. Gil hit me up about a movie, and at that point, I had already said I'm not doing any of that anymore. But I just loved Gil so much that I like very
Thought
seriously
about it.
considered it. But yeah, but I I had to make a decision, and that's also when I left the guild too, because keeping my guild membership, I kind of felt like it was kind of keeping my foot in the door,
Hmm.
and it would have been easy to get attracted back. Like, oh hey, Seth, we got a tier 3 project. You're gonna make $9,000 a week. Come on out, and I probably would have been like, okay, and then hated it
Which would
or
have been
something. I
nice.
don't know. Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, yeah.
If I could make that a month right now, that would be great.
Yeah, no joke. That okay, that's something else I miss. I miss the wages.
Yeah, the wages are good, but you definitely, it's a trade-off.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there any question that I didn't ask that you hoped I would ask, or anything you want to add?
Not really. I didn't really have any expectations, I guess. Do you feel like you do you f-
Sorry.
well, I don't know. That's
Keep
just
your
okay, that
expectations
sounds
low with
no,
Remy.
no, 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 no. That's something that I work on ever since my divorce. It's something my therapist and I
It's so
work on.
healthy. I'm
So
totally fucking with you. It's
yeah,
very
yeah,
healthy.
yeah, yeah.
It's very healthy.
My question for you is, do you feel like you got everything?
I think I did.
Okay, cool.
Thank you for your time. This was really
Yeah,
fun.
it was nice to see
I
you
know.
too.
We've talked a bunch recently, but we haven't
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
seen each other. So it's
Yeah,
good to see
yeah.
your face.
Cool. Well, live long and prosper.
Company Move is produced by me, Rennie Pollock, and is produced and edited by Robin Lavecchio. Special thanks to Selena Persiani-Shell for designing our graphics. Our theme music was written by Cliff Beach and performed by Cliff Beach and Alex Nestor. You can follow Cliff on Spotify or check out his website at cliffbeachmusic.com. Our interstitial music was composed and performed by Gabe Rosen. Do you have questions, suggestions, or want to be a guest? You can email us at companymovepod@gmail.com. We're moving away from Meta, so no more Insta, but follow us on Blue Sky by searching for at Company Move Pod. Follow and rate us on whatever platform you listen to us on, and if you like us, please leave us a review. It helps for listeners to find us. That's a wrap for this week. Thanks for listening. Come on back next week for a new episode of The Company Move.